All right, I think it is going. Okay, so this is for the PCF crew. Hi, you guys. I miss all of you. I have my coach and mentor and friend, John Rusin. He really does exist. I just don't talk like he exists. He's actually there. Real quick story about how I met John. I've been following John for a long time, probably for a year to 2 years prior to even meeting John. I think he was just getting started, but he had tons of great articles out there on different places, different internet sites. Anyway, he really spoke to me and how he trained. And there was one day I was training at the old gym and I felt like I'd been hit with a Mack truck and I could hardly move anymore. And you guys all know very much my story about my back issues. And I thought I really have to change this passion into something that I love. So I looked this guy up and I scrolled to the bottom of his website. And here it said he was in Verona, Wisconsin at the time. I'm like, this guy's in Madison. This guy that I watch every day. And so I threw an email at him and I said, hey, John, do you do assessments? And he said, I do. His wife, Lindsay got me an appointment. It was maybe 2 or 3 months after, because you were so busy and you were just starting to travel at that time. Anyway, I met John. He took 2 hours with me, which was awesome. He said, there's nothing wrong with you. You need to get stronger. And of course, I'm thinking I'm all that strong, right? You need to get stronger. You need to understand how to brace your body. Your upper body's money. Your lower body's got to match. And he said, you need to get stronger, and here's how. So that's the story. And now you guys see how I lift and everything I can do now. So lastly, John is the creator and owner of PPSC, Pain-Free Performance System certification, which I have, and I'm going to go again this year, hopefully, as soon as things open up, that I talk to you guys all about all the time, as well as a plethora of other businesses that he does. But to me, he is the gold standard in fitness, and he also has been voted the top 50 in fitness all on his own. So how's that for the intro?
Man, that's amazing. And it was, I think it was 2015 or early 2016 is when we first met. And it seems like yesterday, honestly, because, we've had a great relationship since, but I think the best thing that you do as a business owner and also as a leader is that you put yourself in the best position possible to continuously learn, continuously evolve, get better. And then you take one step further and pay it forward to your family over at Peterson and Company. And that's something that not a whole lot of people are doing out there. So it's a testament to you, your drive, your dedication to your people, and actually having compassion and caring for their well-being. And it's a testament. So it's a pleasure to be here speaking to everybody. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, I love it, John. And thank you for that. Relationships are where it's at. We've talked about that too, but we won't talk about that today, but we could. So what we thought we would talk about, guys, is I love John's quote, more isn't better, better is better. So we're going to talk about intensity of workouts, quality, the stresses that we're under right now. So John, how, I've talked to our members and they still love to sweat. They still love when they're really sore. They still love that. What would you say to them about intensity? I mean, just in general.
Well, I think you can break it down very simply that there's nothing wrong with sweat or fatigue or a little bit of delayed onset muscle soreness after a good workout, but that is not entirely the goal in itself. So it's a byproduct of what you should be doing to feel better, to look better, to get stronger, to live a better life via fitness. So I think many times we're out there, we're chasing these things that are very short term, which is getting your heart rate up, getting super sweaty in your Lulus, or literally having your point to the point where you cannot do another single rep thinking that, man, I got everything out that day. But we need to be stepping back a bit and seeing if that's actually getting you better or getting you closer to your desired goal fact. And it's something that we talk about all the time, which is health and longevity. A lot of your members, they're like my clients and my coaches. We're not necessarily in this to get down to 4% body fat, or we don't want to necessarily bench press 500 pounds. What we want to do is be a better version of ourselves and enhance our lifestyle via the training, the fitness, the wellness, the nutrition that is entering our body in terms of the stimulus that we're putting on it. So if you can step back a little bit and say, hey, I am feeling good, I am functioning at my best, and I am continuously getting better, not week after week, but literally year after year. I think that really reconstitutes somebody's mindset of why they're doing what they're doing. And it is a hard thing because it's very popular in today's industry to go in for 40 minutes to burn 1,000 calories and feel like you just justified eating that pizza or that pint of ice cream or that six-pack. But if it's only about the calories in, calories out, we're going to have a hard time actually achieving health and longevity from a holistic standpoint. So there's nothing wrong with sweating a lot. There's nothing wrong with getting tired, but that should not be in the goal in itself.
Yeah. And when we talk about, I'll just hit the nutrition piece really quickly because they know that's the linchpin for so many.
Yes.
And that's again is another call. I'll do that with Mike Gorski. They know who he is too. So we're going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. But this particular niche at PCF, they're not all middle-aged actually, but I do have the majority of my folks are in their 40s, 50s. I've got a few in their 60s, and we do have some young ones too. But the longevity and the resiliency piece, John, that we preach all the time. And one of the really great things was when we went to this app, and I really haven't seen our members since we had to close. When we went to the app version, it's not live. We do some live, but it's a lot like the training that you give me. Very similar. I don't use True Coach, but very similar. The comments I got about, I can hear you in my head. I can hear you talk to me about bracing that core. I can hear you talking to me about packing my lats. When you start hearing that kind of thing, you start understanding that they're really getting it and even on their own. And I think one of the things as a trainer that you want, but you want them to be able to fly out of the nest on their own, right? You want them to be able to get into that gym or any situation they have and be able to do what they have to do while staying safe and resilient. And I think once that switch flips from, so I used to work really hard because I wanted a great physique, right? I mean, that in the beginning, I wanted low body fat. I wanted a great physique. I enjoyed exercise. There's no question, but I just kill myself to get it. And once that switches, that occasional day off, that occasional beer, too many, too many. I see you. That occasional beer, it isn't so bad anymore. Your workout life or your fitness life becomes a lot more joyful.
Well, you look at it too, is that health and longevity isn't just for the 40, 50, and 60-year-olds. Longevity, I think people make the misconception that means that we're just waiting around to die peacefully. And it's not. And I see that, especially with our coaches and our clients, the earlier on that we can adopt this more intelligent-based training mindset, the better off you're going to be for your entire life. So really the goal with PPSC is to get these tools into the hands of coaches and trainers, clients and athletes at the earliest age possible. So in a perfect case scenario, the first time that a youth athlete would come in, they'd start doing things correctly from the start so they could have a lifelong journey of doing things that actually make their body feel and function their best so they can, again, do things that they want to do without physical repercussions of pain, injury, or burnout until they're 80, 90, 100 years old. That's a lifetime of fitness. But I think many times it's more in the forefront of people's minds when they have had a setback. You're the perfect example of that. You could have gone on the way that you're going, but usually there is that one point in time where something needs to change. For many of our clients, it's either pain, it's injuries, it's burnout, it's mental exhaustion from what they're doing. And they know that in order to sustain a healthier lifestyle, they need to make some different changes. But it's tough because we are under, again, the misconception that more is always better. And mainstream media over the last decade has really told us that, hey, you got to go out and you got to be crushing yourself. 10 years ago when Biggest Loser aired, it did a lot for the fitness industry to say, wow, personal trainers can make an impact on people's lives. But then it went about 10 steps too far, saying that, oh man, I have to exercise for 4 hours. I have to eat a diet of ice cubes. And you know what? It needs to be a quick fix. The quick fix mentality is very, very dangerous for people's consistency and for people's longevity with the physical practice. Because anything worth earning needs to be done for the long term. And I've come a long way even in my career where I used to try to get spurts of results for people, maybe a 4 to 6 week result. Okay, we're going to go super hard and heavy here. We're going to get this result and then we're going to pull back. But mentally, that's hard for a lot of people to deal with. So right now, it's one of our general tenets for PPSC and the way that we train is that I am not interested in putting in a training technique, an exercise, a diet recommendation, or a lifestyle management product if it doesn't have the ability to sustain for a lifetime. And I think that going back to feeling good, going back to habits, going back to when we do have these very unique challenges, the things that we're dealing with today, it's what we fall back on that is almost automatic in our lifestyle are the ones that will continuously push us forward. So again, there is very limited efficacy to, oh, one workout is going to make you fit, one meal is going to make you fat.
Right.
It is a culmination of an entire lifetime of your habits that you do on a day-to-day basis. So again, one beer is usually fine. One workout that crushes you, I just did that this morning to myself because I mentally needed to do that, but I'm not doing that 7 days a week for years or months at a time. What we're doing is sprinkling those things in only when we need it, and really having like that 90+% of our lifestyle, our training, our nutrition really dialed in to get us better over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And, John, speak to, I love all that. Speak a little bit to, I always, I do not program burpees very much. I do not program box jumps very much. I do because our people love them. And I like them from time to time, but I'm always telling them I want 3. I want 3 incredibly explosive ones. I want rest in between. This is what I want. And I laugh about it, not because they're urging me for more, but I know they would do more. I mean, we came from, many of our members are still with us. The legends, I like to call them, or the legacy members, they came from the 100 box jumps workouts. We came from the 100 burpee workouts as fast as you can, kind of thing. Speak to those movements, if you would, John, and then appropriate volume without getting too into it, like we probably would. But your thoughts on overall about those movements. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, so let's start off with the burpee here. The burpee is not something that I choose to program for any of my clients or my athletes or my coaches. There's nothing inherently dangerous about them, but I've seen that they're a mismatch for many people's skill sets, their orthopedic health, and their goals. So it's almost the trifecta of negativity when you come into programming them. And this is really interesting because it's a polarizing question that you're asking right now. Of all the things that I've put out on the website, on Instagram, on Facebook, the number one post that I've ever made was a chart of smart versus stupid burpee. Maybe it was the title that got people, but it was actually the content. And it really showed and it constituted what a proper burpee should be. The controlled positions, being able to hold a plank, being able to do a jump squat, being able to transition these movements, being able to have the mobility, the stability, the metabolic capacity to continuously do reps. And at the bottom of this post, it just said, hey, if you're unable to do these things, it's okay and it's normal, and 95% of people are in the same boat. What should you do instead? Not do them? No, not quite. You can make some simple modifications. You can break this complex exercise down into the component of its parts, the ones that I just mentioned. Or you can simply take away the part that may be causing the biggest problem, whether that not being able to keep a neutral spinal position, whether jumping hurts your knees, whether just plopping down is hurting your shoulders. You can make simple modifications so you don't have to be sent to the corner while everyone else in the class does burpees and you have to go foam roll or something, but you can just do things to make yourself get better without having physical repercussions of pain, injuries, burnout, or just not being able to feel good with that physical practice. So I do see that there can be benefit for some people. I mean, mentally right now, I think some people just need to go out there and every now and then just kind of kill it a little bit, get that heart rate to 200 and feel, man, life is tough right now, but I just got something in that made me feel alive again. I think that's the biggest advantage to burpees. Box jumps that's another really polarizing one. And that's something, again, that I do program a lot of in terms of jumping, but we don't necessarily jump onto a box very much, and especially not for a bunch of reps. When you think about anything that is jumping or explosive, it's essentially something called a plyometric, which is one of the biggest displays of power that the human body could possibly display, not only in the gym, but in real life. So when you think about something like that, power is really best trained with a handful of reps at a time, with a huge amount of rest between, because again, the power and the explosiveness is the number one physical trait being trained at that point in time. It's not necessarily being able to repeat that bout over and over again. Now, that's something that somebody might see in the CrossFit games, but again, these are top 0.0001 percenters of the entire world population that still struggle in doing these things. So we tend to do jumps, but I like coming back down onto the ground to land, because mostly people have trouble not with the jumping, but the landing. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see when we have to do reps of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 box jumps is that it becomes a little bit iffy in terms of the potential risk of injury, not with the jump itself, but the landing and more so getting back up off the box down to the floor again. So many times it's done for time. We want to get them in quick. We just want to get the work done so we can self-justify. And then we hop up and down from the box. That is where I tend to see the vast majority of things go wrong in terms of that movement. So nothing against the movement itself, but it simply needs to be done for the right amount of reps, which is maybe 1 to 5 at a time. It needs to be done with pristine form and explosiveness. It needs to be done with rest. And then I'd recommend that you step down under control on a secondary box that is maybe half the height of the one that you're jumping up to.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. And I love the explanations. But how much time do we have, John?
Oh, we're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, so our group loves those. And I think that, well, they don't know, actually. They don't like them. But if you don't do them, they're wondering where they are. And they are just those poster children movements for no, you can do them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find much more value out of rope slams, again, done appropriately. We don't need to do that for 3 minutes straight. And prowler pushes and sled pushes and things like that, for power. And they love those too, but there's those 5 or so movements that just make everybody feel like a badass in the gym.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And so if we could just program them correctly and intelligently, we can still include some of that stuff in what we do. I could talk about that all day, but I don't want to keep it all day. What do you think? We've talked a lot online, John, and let me put this in before I get John off. If anybody does not follow John, a lot of you do, just go to Facebook, search for his page, Dr. John Rusin. You're going to see him all over my page, of course. I share his a lot on the PCF member site, but also his Instagram is amazing. So at drjohnrusin.com. So take a look at that. And by the way, if you haven't liked my Instagram page, you probably should, people. So we have a little bit of time. So gym opening. So we've been talking, I just sent a survey out to the members and asked them how they felt, how comfortable are they? Here's the protocols we're talking about. We're going to keep an eye on the state, what's going to happen. I don't know if you read this, but Georgia, I just saw what they came out with. And at the very bottom of the list was no group. Oh, it just makes me sick to my stomach because really that's the foundation of what we do here. However, we'll work it out. We'll go smaller group. We'll do more classes. We'll figure that out. But I think some of those precedents are being set now as to what we looked at. So one of the things to understand in all of this conversation, if people are paying attention to it, is that I think our legislators see gyms as one big thing, right?
Yes.
They see gyms as 24-hour fitness. They see gyms as lifetime. They see gyms as anytime to a point, anytime is a big global gym in smaller locations. So I think much of what they put out there is for these 24/7 monster gyms, 2 floors full of equipment. We are not
Absolutely.
We are not at all like those gyms. So I don't know, let's talk about a little bit about that, John, about the confidence of people, but our members all are itching to get back. A few are saying, let's hang on, which we will.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just talk about that a little bit.
So I'm in a pretty intriguing position right now because I'm able to consult for some of the biggest commercial gym fitness lines in the entire world. So I'm on a day-to-day communication with Equinox, which is the Ritz-Carlton of gym lines across North America and into Europe. Anytime Fitness is another one with almost 5,000 facilities worldwide. And I tend to be on the pulse with the billion-dollar companies that have all the resources at their disposal, but also have a lot of risk in re-entering the market because they are essentially publicly traded companies. They are public companies. Yep. And you are correct in assuming that when we do get these mandates, especially the federal guidelines for phase 1 of opening, a lot of them are based on the misconception that all gyms are the same. They operate the same. They are the same size. They offer the same programs and products. That could not be further from the truth. So I think that we do have essentially 3 different tiers of gyms, and they will have to respond differently based on the recommendations, the mandates, the restrictions, the regulations, but also the confidence of the consumer coming back based on your geographical region. The first one is the big global gym. It is something like a 24-hour fitness. That is going to be extremely difficult to scale right now because a lot of the members that enter into a 24-hour-ish gym are ones that are publicly used in terms of the facilities, AKA they're not necessarily doing personal training, right, not doing semi-private training, and not doing class-based training other than something that they just go in for in the group training studios. So that's the first thing. And they are going to be very, very slow back to respond. These big commercial gyms are also the ones that are under siege right now because a lot of their members are falling off in terms of their repeated payments that they basically were not using over the last number of years. All of a sudden they get an email say, hey, you don't have to pay for the gym anymore. They weren't there anyway. So that's a huge problem in terms of the finances side of things, especially for the publicly traded company. That is not you guys. You know, that second tier down, it's what you mentioned, kind of like the Anytime Fitnesses, the bigger facilities that are also membership based, but also offer more unique solutions for personal training, semi-private training, and then small group training. I think those facilities are in a very intriguing position because they have the square footage. You know, you're talking about 3, 4, 5, 10,000 square feet, not 300,000 square feet, but they have enough of a facility so they can start safely and effectively bringing people back in, while also really respecting the health and safety parameters that are set by state with the distancing guidelines, with the amount of equipment, and being able to, most importantly, sanitize between each and every use of every aspect of the facility. So I think there's pretty intriguing things for that middle level. And then I think one of the biggest opportunities right now is to get back in, act like it's 2001 again, and get back into personal training. I think personal training in small semi-private groups, many 2 to 5 individuals, I think there's going to be a huge amount of emphasis placed on those, because that is being able to control controllable factors. Now, being able to have one coach per maybe 1 to 5 clients, all of a sudden the biggest concern right now is that we don't know what people are doing when they're in the facility. I know that when somebody walks into your gym, you have the coach's eye, you have the relationships, and you are going to be able to control each and every client's behaviors inside of that gym and really have a consistent, controllable space for people to feel safe, people to be healthy, but also you're going to be doing everything by the guidelines, by the books, in order to create this environment that people feel good about entering. And there are going to be some people that may not be entering right away, and that's totally fine. But that's the reason why you're set up on remote-based delivery, and there is going to be having to be a solution for each and every person. The idea that people are just going to roll back into the gyms and they're going to be exactly the same as they were before, that's not what's going to be happening here. I think we're going to be anywhere from like a 8 to 12 month transition into getting back to some sort of normalcy, which was pre-coronavirus. But there are intriguing things, but I think we are lucky in the state of Wisconsin, maybe not for everyone who wants to be at the gym, but in terms of never being the first one back. Yeah. I know for my businesses, I never want to be the first one to do something brand new. I want to be able to have my eyes and my ears open. I want to be rapidly responding to the data points that are coming from elsewhere. And I want to learn at an exponential rate on what people are doing well, what people aren't doing well, and best ways so we can transition most effectively and most safely with our businesses. And that's something that we're doing right now. You know, I feel fortunate not to be living in Georgia right now because I want to see what the gyms in Georgia do. I want to see what the facilities in Georgia do so we can learn and get better from that. And I think that every solution for every gym is going to be a little bit different. But the most important factor is that there's leadership at these gyms that truly care about their clients. They not only care about getting their clients back in from a financial perspective, but they care about the health and their safety. I posted on Facebook a couple of days ago. It didn't go over very well. And I said, there is a way to open back up when we get the ability to do so, but do so in a safe and effective way. And I think that coaches, the facility owners like yourself that have been going above and beyond their entire career, they're the ones that are going to be doing the best job here, because we have to be able to look at not only the health risk potentially, not only the risk of not training, but we have to look at what people are feeling in our communities, in our tribes, the culture that we built, and serving them based on that. Because it's going to be totally different, Georgia to Wisconsin to California, up into Germany. Every single region is going to be different, but I think that having a pulse and having a relationship with your clients, a deep relationship, a compassion and caring-based relationship, that's the thing that is going to push back into the industry more rapidly than ever. And for the better or for the worse, a lot of coaches aren't you. A lot of owners aren't you. So you are going to you're going to have an extreme opportunity to differentiate yourself in the market. And I think that's the way it should be. the people that are going above and beyond should thrive. The ones that are doing great things for their clients, they're the ones that should continue on and have the opportunities to do so. If you're not caring about people, if you're not creating a healthy environment, a safe environment for people, then we need to have mandates on that as well and get those people out of there.
Yeah, you make me cry, John. People are worth it. I mean, it sounds so freaking naive, but they're worth it, every single one of them. And last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go because I know you have to. This is really awesome. Thanks. But I hope there's going to be a little bit of a revolution here on people understanding what immunity looks like. And what people understanding that healthier people are harder to kill. I mean, when I say that right now, I don't want it to be it's funny, but I don't want it to be taken wrong. But honestly, the things that I see in people that improve their health, the numbers that are coming out, if you're watching any kind of studies, the numbers are coming out, the comorbidity things, the people that are dying from this, that are affected by this more so. And I think this will really become clear. That obviously health and wellness is pivotal right now. It's pivotal all the time. We all know this. This is why these people are here every day. We all know this, but it is a big, big deal. And I think if we ride that wave a little bit as well, it'll really help us.
I've been on this mission now for a number of years, and we are the front lines of health, wellness, and longevity. We are the ones that are going to make the biggest difference in the proactive model of healthcare, not reactive care, not sick care, but healthcare. And I think that, yes, we are seeing some eye-opening things right now. We were seeing them before, but now we're seeing them even more. People that are truly healthy, people that are eating well, people that have, aesthetics and also, body fat composition that is at a non-sick level, are the ones that are going to be able to thrive and fend off some of this stuff. So it's nothing new, but I think it's just blatantly clear what needs to happen, which is an expansion of the culture of physical fitness and wellness. And I think, everyone's up for it. And if you aren't, you're probably not going to be in the industry after this coronavirus.
Yeah, there's no question. And we're really blessed to have some medical professionals and such in our group that are really available to people and support the mission. So it's really awesome. I'm going to let you go. I know you have to do another call, but John, this was awesome.
No, I appreciate it, Becky. And I can't wait for you guys to open, get people back, get that community back together, and hopefully make this thing a thing of the past.
Yep. And let's not just have to travel across the country to see each other. Pop out. I get to Madison. You get to Reedsburg. We'll figure this thing out.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right, John. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Stay well.